Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Lee Merritt, one of the family attorneys, along with Brother Ben Crump, Mr. Darrell Washington. Shortly going to hear from the family, and they just want to thank this community. They want to thank the people of Dallas County. They want to thank this jury for taking their time, hearing the evidence, and getting it right. We still have the sentencing phase to go, but this is a huge victory, not only for the family of Botham Jean, but as his mother Allison told me a moment ago, this is a victory for black people in America. It's a signal that the tide is going to change here. Police officers are going to begin to be held accountable for their actions, and we believe that will begin to change policing culture all over the world. It's a sad reality that this community waited on pins and needles to decide whether or not someone could be held guilty for killing an unarmed black man in his home while eating ice cream. This should have been automatic. This should have been anticipated and expected, but it is extremely rare. And we, from this day forward, we're leading the way. We are pushing so that it is not rare, but that this is common, that justice continues to roll down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Yeah. We said it all along. When Tobias Mackey was killed, no one thought it was a problem. When James Harper was killed, nobody thought it was a problem. Clinton Allen was killed. We still didn't believe when we said we had training issues within the Dallas Police Department. It took us losing someone like Botham for Dallas, this entire state, and the whole world to finally hear what we've been saying all along. There are serious issues within the Dallas Police Department and training issues. We were here just a few months ago when Roy Oliver was convicted for the murder of Jordan Edwards. And now we're here today because Amber Guyger has now been convicted of murder for the death of Botham. And we just hope that somehow, some way, we can get some healing in this community and we can get the proper training so no other family can have to deal with what Bertram and Miss Allison, Alicia, and Brant are now dealing with. Although we got a murder conviction, their lives will never be the same, ever again. But we just hope that now people who live in the South Side flats, people who live in houses that look identical, this ruling will now say that you are safe to be in your homes, and people can no longer just say, I made a mistake and took your life.
I am Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Darrell Washington and Attorney Lee Merritt. Brothers, I'm so very honored to be in the foxhole. We're fighting for justice for this great family of Botham Jean, and to make history today in America. To make history today in America.
Absolutely.
You know, Botham Jean was a near perfect person of color. So this jury had to make history in America today because Botham was the best that we had to offer. A 26-year-old, college-educated black man, certified public accountant, working for one of the big 3 accounting firms in the world, PricewaterhouseCoopers. But it shouldn't take all of that for unarmed black and brown people in America to get justice. Like Attorney Merritt and Attorney Washington said, this is a precedence now that will go forth across America for equal justice under the law for everybody. Whether you black, white, red, brown, it doesn't matter. And this verdict is for Trayvon Martin, it's for Michael Brown, it's for Sandra Bland, it's for Tamir Rice, it's for Eric Gardner, it's for Antoine Rose, it's for Jamel Roberts, for E.J. Bradford, for Stephon Clark, for Jeffrey Dennis, Genevieve Dawes, for Pamela Turner, for so many unarmed black and brown human beings all across America. This verdict today is for them. Everybody can raise their hand. This verdict is for them. This verdict is for them.
That's right. I just had the district attorney's office tap me on my shoulder, and because the sentencing phase is coming up where the family will testify, they've asked that I withhold their statements. I do want to relay what this family has always stood on, and it's their faith in God, and it's their belief in Christ Jesus, and it was Botham's faith that we believe played a key factor in that. And because of that, I'm going to ask Botham's pastor, Pastor Berry, to come forward and give a statement.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say that on behalf of the faith community here in Dallas, in the state of Texas, and also here in the U.S., and on behalf of the Dallas area preachers and church leaders, this verdict is exactly what we were looking for. I want to say thank you to the jurors for being willing to make that tough decision. I want to say thank you to the prosecutors for the excellent job that they did. And now we're just going to move forward and continue to respond in the appropriate way going forward. But we just want to say, and the other thing that I want to say is that this also lets us know that the God that we serve is still on the throne.
That's right.
Yeah.
God is still in control.
Amen.
And he has been all along. I have some other of my associates with me, Jonathan Morrison and also Colin Packer. I'd like for them to have comments.
All right. What we're going to do at this time is we're going to take a few questions and we're going to take the family back up. So please.
What do you want to see? 5 to 99 years. What do you think Amber Guyger deserves?
We believe in the wisdom of this jury. That decision is in the hands of this jury, and so we believe that Botham's life mattered, and we want to see a sentence that reflects that.
Yeah. And many people, a lot of commentators said there would be no murder conviction.
Right.
So right now we're already ahead of the game, and we welcome the jury's decision, as Attorney Merritt and Attorney Washington have said.
Steve.
What we do know, though, is that Amber Guyger got on the stand and she testified without a doubt that she intended to kill Botham. And we just hope that the jury remembers that this is an individual that says she didn't make a mistake, she intended to kill. And we think that the sentence that they give her should reflect that.
You all know what? Imagine what the sentence would be if the roles were reversed and Botham Jean killed Amber Guyger. Why can't it be equal justice in America,
That's right.
no matter what the ethnicity of the murderer is?
And 2 days after she killed Botham, she was back sexting and talking about getting drunk. So this is a person that has no remorse. This is a person being in jail for 5 to 6 years will not be enough. So we want the sentence to definitely reflect that.
Do you worry about an
appeal? What was your sense of hearing the concept of mistake of fact and castle doctrine?
Well, here's what we know, and I'll let Lee talk, but here's what we know. We did not think mistake of fact and the castle doctrine should have gotten in there, but what the family know today and what we feel comfortable about, there's really nothing that the defense going to be able to appeal. They got everything that they wanted, so, and they did not get the verdict that they wanted, so we feel good about that.
And I'll just reiterate that the mistake of fact, and particularly the castle doctrine, was asinine to go before this jury. They had no business asserting the castle doctrine in someone else's home. I'm glad that the jury simply rejected that, and we can move forward from there.
Were you surprised by, I'm sorry, Mr. Crump.
No, I was just going to say, when you think about the castle doctrine, it really reminds you a lot of stand your ground when you come up with an intellectual justification to justify the killing of an unarmed black person. Thank God the jury did not accept it.
Exactly.
Can you just give us were you surprised by this verdict?
No. If you sit number one, and I said if we were calling the game, if we were calling this like a game, the score was 92-0 the entire time. The only concern was that the jury instructions, it bothered me that those would go back, and in that case you could have a runaway jury in a sense that would go against the entire weight of the evidence. But when it's all said and done, you had someone who was completely unarmed, completely nonviolent, completely non-aggressive, sitting at his home, eating a bowl of ice cream, and someone barged into his home and shot him to death. And so when this family contacted us the day after this murder, we believed that the right conviction would happen. We believed that the right verdict would come out as guilty. We knew that in America that's rare. We knew we had a fight on our hands, but there were all the pieces in place. And I'll tell you what, this was a perfect storm of events in terms of the justice system working together. You had a motivated district District Attorney's Office, who put on an excellent case. You had a progressive judge who made the right calls from the bench, and you had a Dallas County community that responded to the call to serve on these juries, as we need them to continue to do. So you had one of the most diverse juries that we ever seen. And when all those things work together, I was convicted. I was certain of a conviction in this case.
And let me say this. This Dallas County has a precedence unlike anybody else in America. Remember Jordan Edwards' case.
Right.
District Attorney Faith Johnson made sure that that young unarmed child's life was not in vain when they got a conviction there. And now to get a conviction here, hopefully all the rest of the cities all across the United States will learn from Dallas, Texas, that justice means equal justice.
And one final thing that we said it before, what Mike Rivera did by deleting those text messages, that is something that just cannot go away.
That's right.
Because that was clear tampering with evidence. And that's going to be something that we're going to follow up on, and we're going to make sure that the Dallas Police Department is following the proper procedures, because as a result of not following up on people like Mike Rivera, there's a mother that we talked to who Mike Rivera took her son's life, that's still dealing with that from 2007. So we need to make sure that that's followed up on.
What this trial did was it pulled the veil back, and we saw the kind of things that lead to unfair acquittals of police officers. Yeah. We saw a corrupt Dallas Police Department that actively engaged in covering for, excusing, and justifying the unjustifiable. And now that that veil has been pulled back, we've all seen it now, right. And we have an obligation on behalf of this family. We have each of us in this community has an obligation to go after the bad actors who tried to cover this murder up from the beginning. That's including her pardon Martin Rivera. That's including Mike Mata of the Dallas Police Officers Association. We call on Chief Hall to clean house, because we're going to go about the business of cleaning house for her.
Right.